Hi there and welcome back. Today we're going to make some lovely fluted edge coasters using these moulds. Having cleaned them up first with a little bit of tape, make sure we got all the little bits of dust and any other particles that are on there. Going to dust the base and the sides with this lovely Arteza mica powder in Aztec Gold. So this has been sped up. We're just making sure we've got an even coverage of the sides and the base, and we're going to get rid of any residue. So we did the rest of them off camera. Obviously you didn't need to see that. And to get rid of any residue, we're just going to turn it over like we're going to do with this one and give it a little light tap onto some kitchen towel there. As you can see, nicely coated. Using some black resin. This is the first layer of resin because there are multiple layers in this particular project. And we've added in some more of that deep, rich gold mica powder. So I'm going to stir this thoroughly to make sure that it's all nicely combined, and it will give the black resin a nice shimmer effect, a nice luster to it. Yep, there we go. So it's all lovely and mixed, and we're going to pour a light covering over. Can you see the gold there? It looks beautiful. Lovely chatoyancy, I think is the word that's used to describe things in jewellery terms anyway, that give this kind of an effect. So that's obviously been sped up. I don't work quite that quickly. Make sure you get it into all the edges of the mould, and there we go. That's all of them done and cured. They took 24 hours to cure, and I've actually made some embellishments to go in to this mould. I say made, I've actually used a gift bag. I found some lovely gift bags at a shop called Home Sense in the UK. Don't know if they've got the equivalent. I mean, you'd have to look around at your Dollar Tree and Bargain Worlds, Poundlands, that sort of thing, and go and have a look. I've used these instead of using decoupage papers, because I found when I've searched them online, anything as soon as you say decoupage is so expensive, or can be. And to be honest, there was nothing that I found that I liked. So I thought, do you know what? Why don't I try using gift bags? I've used them in another project that you won't have seen because it was before I started filming for YouTube. There we go. These are the gift bags that I use. So I used the botanical features and elements of the first one, and I used the cheetahs. I think they're cheetahs or leopards from the second one. So I've gone round and I've cut out all the bits that I wanted, made sure that I had enough of them, and then decided on a design of how I was going to place them for each of the coasters. So of course you've got to stick these down to the first layer of resin, and all I've done is put in a little bit of clear resin, which will act like the glue. So there we go, just making sure it's coating out to all the edges of this beautiful fluted mould. And obviously this bit's been sped up because it did take a while. Take your time with the placement of them. So I've put them in and I'm just gradually pushing them down very gently. And once I was happy with all where they were and so on, I just pushed them down and to make sure that they were covered slightly with the resin. So this is then another 24 hours later after the resin has cured, and you can see some of it's lifted slightly, which is going to happen unfortunately, but it's lifted slightly. Just make sure that everything's been coated thoroughly. So then this is what I thought this was going to be the final coat, and this is clear resin at this point, but there are a lot of bubbles in it, a hell of a lot of bubbles. And for a resin that's advertised as being crystal clear, it was a bit worried, although I kept with it, and I'm going to use the atomizer. This atomizer has got 100% or 99% isopropyl alcohol in it. So if you give it a spritz over the surface of the resin that's in the mould, it does get a lot of the bubbles to burst and dissipate. But I wasn't happy, so then what I've done is removed that resin and I've added in a little bit of glitter. So that's not a ton or hundreds of bubbles you can see. That's actually a bit of glitter. So this was the glitter I used. This was purchased from a shop over in the UK called The Works. It was quite cheap. So I just added it in and it gave it that bit of extra pizzazz. Let's use that word, a pizzazz. So to be honest, then it didn't matter if there were still a few little bubbles in the resin, because, you know, it blended in with the glitter nicely. So I repeated that, and I did that for the rest of the other 5 molds. And then this is the situation that we had. And this is, yeah, this is another 24 hours later. This is quite a long process. So this is fully cured. And this is the final coaster itself. I mean, it looks beautiful. Maybe a little bit too much glitter in this one, perhaps, but you can still make out the leaves and the fern, the beautiful fern leaf and the other leaves, and the you know, the little leopards or cheetahs that are sat there. And you just had a little sneaky peek there as I'm demolding it. Seeing the edge, you could see the gold luster from the mica powder. Now there is some overpour here, which is what I'm attempting to remove now, just with gently with my fingernails, so as not to scratch the surface. And then what I do off camera is I go in and I remove it with a deburring tool. So I've invested in one of those recently. Very carefully removed it with a deburring tool. So here's another one of the coasters. We don't show you the demolding of all of them. Here we go. So that's that lovely golden sheen that the mica powder provided. And that continues up the sides of the molds there, as you can see. Which looks beautiful. Again, obviously, if you've got any sharp edges, you know how to get rid of those. Tiny bit of light sanding, or as you can see, I've got a lot of overspill there. As you can see, you can really see it there, that I need to get rid of. Just tidying it up, and then there we go. They look beautiful. Well, I think they look beautiful, but I suppose I'm a little bit biased. So we've called these our botanical animal styled coasters. As I say, maybe a little bit avant-garde, but will look beautiful in any setting. Whether you decide to use them as coasters or whether you would decide to use them as a placement piece of art. They're a bit bigger than the standard size of coaster, but I think the detail, I mean, that looks beautiful. And there's quite the 3D effect going on with the depth. You've got the depth going on as well. It doesn't look like it's completely flat. So it gives quite the, if you've ever done decoupage and so on, it gives quite the 3D effect there. But yeah, very happy with the results of those. They will be up for sale in our shop in the future. More details of that to come later on. But thank you very much for staying to the end of this video. Don't forget to give us a like, share and subscribe. And thank you to everybody who has been subscribing. We're really close to the 200 subscriber mark. Keep it going for us, and thanks again for tuning in. A new project will come up again on Wednesday this week. Bye.